This is the Landlord Survival Show. When people stop being nice and shit gets real. You're the landlord. We're here to help. This is a show for what the gurus don't tell you about owning rentals. We're here for you because we're stronger together.
Brought to you by Empire Industries Property Management. Built for investors, by investors.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Landlord Survival Show. I am your host, Steve Rosenberg, and I am the creator and co-founder of Empire Industries Property Management Company, and I'm also an investor. And just give you a little bit of background about myself. Created Empire Industries because basically I needed a property management company to manage my portfolio of properties. As we were growing and becoming the company that we are today, we found a huge void out there. And a lot of these companies that existed were just not property management. They weren't investor centric. They were more focused on the property manager. And as an investor, I wanted to find someone that could help me with my properties and make it win-win for them. I was okay with someone making money off me, but I wanted to make sure that I made money on my properties also. And I just didn't find that. So we created that company. It's doing very, very well. We manage about 1,000 properties in Houston, in Dallas, and in Fort Worth. And we now are trying to give back. And the way we're giving back is we've created the Landlord Survival Show. Now we have a website, selfmanagemyproperty.com. And we have a Facebook group, Landlord Survival Group on Facebook. And this group is just for investors that are either trying to get into the market, trying to figure it out, or people that are in the market and they were trying to figure a better way or have some challenges. Now, the reason we have this show and the reason I have my guest on today is very simply, I got tired of listening to all the people talk about only their successes and not talking about their failures. And I think all of us know that when you're in this business and you're trying to be successful, you're going to hit some roadblocks. You're going to hit some potholes, and you're probably going to get into a couple car crashes along the way. And they don't talk about that. And I thought it was a huge mistake to let people go into this industry thinking that it's all unicorns and rainbows, and there's no reality of how you actually do this. So I have guests like my good friend Erika on. I've had many, many guests on the show, and we want to talk about the challenges that we all face as investors. I want to hear about the days you just don't want to get out of bed because you've got mortgages due, you've got to deal with a bad tenant, contractors not showing up. And to me, that's what actually makes the investor. The successes, I don't think, make the investor. It's the actual getting punched in the face and having to get back up and figure a new solution. Because let's face it, there is no playbook when it comes to doing this. This is a figure it out as you go. Everybody has a different system. Erika and I both in Houston have different ways of doing things. We both are trying to be successful in our own ways, but there's no set way. I will tell you, if you are going to be a landlord and you want to be a self-landlord, we have created a manual to help you. It's called the Ultimate Landlord Survival Handbook. It is on our website, selfmanagemyproperty.com, where you can buy it. And it is how we actually manage 1,000 properties legally and correctly. So you're not doing it by the seat of your pants. You're not doing it by guesswork. We're actually show you how we did it step by step in a reference guide to help you, the investor, become more successful. So without ado, I'd like to welcome my very good friend, Erika Basurto. Did I get that right?
You got it right.
Nice. Erika, thank you so much for being on the Landlord Survival Show. I really appreciate it. If you could just tell everyone a little bit about yourself, kind of who you are, what you've done, and we can kind of go from there.
Well, thank you, Steve, for the invitation to be in your show. It's been some months waiting for it, and I'm finally here.
Yep.
Well, my name is Erika Basurto. I'm in this country since like 10 years ago, and I just started in real estate like 4 years ago. I started with investing. Like, I didn't even think about it because I had too many challenges, in my life, since the language. As you can see, English is my second language. Connections. I was a single mother. I was a woman, a Latina woman living an hour from the biggest city near to me. That it was Houston. I used to live in Cleveland, Texas, and I didn't have any kind of support, and I was making like $8 an hour in a retail store being a cashier. And when I first knew about this, I thought I didn't have any chance because of that many barriers I thought I had. One person asked me for help to translate a contract from a Hispanic family to him that he didn't speak Spanish. So I helped him. It was my first time seeing a contract and seeing a transaction. And when I saw that this guy bought the property in the auction for $26,000 and he was selling it for $89,000, I said, wow, I'm making like $16,000 a year. And he's making all this money in just like 6 months. That's crazy. So I said, I'm doing something wrong. And then, because I consider myself to be smart enough to do other things. It's just the situation had me in that place in that moment.
Sure.
But then eventually, this person helped me out. He told me, I think you can help me more. I started helping out. And then I took my first class, my wholesaling class, I remember. And I was like, wow, this is awesome. So I didn't have $500. I borrowed it from this guy. Take my first class. I took my wholesaling class. I learned some information, not all the information, just the good things. And I didn't know what it really took to be a wholesaler. And then I started, and then I paid another course that it was $6,000. And I didn't have the money. So I talked to the mentor and I said, can I pay you like week to week? And she was like, yeah, that's fine. So I was paying every week that $6,000 that I didn't really have, but I wanted to learn. I finally learned how it worked. My mentoring finished like 3 months later. And guess what? I didn't have any deal. I didn't make any money. And I was all frustrated. I was in debt. And I was in the same place that I was at the beginning. But then I met this guy that now he's my business partner. He's a realtor, Jose Luis Salazar. And he asked me for help. And I said, you know what? This is my chance. This is my opportunity. So I said, you know what? Yes, I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you with the contracts. And I'm going to help you to find information because I'm really good in the computer. And he said, okay, how much you want to make? And I was like, no, I don't want you to pay me anything. I don't want to be your employee. I want to be your business partner. And he said, well, how do you want to make money? So every time you have a closing, you're going to pay me some fee. And he's like, okay, that's fine. And that's why I started working for free. And then every time he had a closing with one of the transactions I helped out, I used to give me some money. Well, eventually I started making a little bit more money. And he told me, I have this much money. I need a property. And I said, you know what? I'm going to look for it. And I found 3 properties for him. He had $100,000 and I found 3 properties for him. He bought them, he fixed up and sold. So I said, oh, you know what? I'm really good for this. This is what I want to do. So eventually I started taking classes, attending all the networking events I could, like 3 a week or 4 a week. And looking on internet, and YouTube, reading books, trying to talk to investors still. It was really hard because nobody paid attention to me because I was the lady who didn't speak proper English, the lady that nobody knew, the lady that didn't have any deal, and the lady that didn't even know what wholesaling was because I was thinking wholesaling was finding a property on MLS. And wholesaling is much more than that. Sure. It is only one one marketing strategy. But I was kind of lost. And I tried to talk to some people and they didn't pay attention to me. As soon as they listened to me, how I used to talk, they were like, So it was kind of hard during the time. Well, I started seeing how big segment of people that nobody was paying attention. That was a Hispanic community in Houston. I started looking for classes in Spanish and nobody was teaching. only English, English, English. I say, why nobody's teaching? 46% of population in Houston is Hispanic, and 38% of people in Houston speak Spanish. Why nobody's teaching these people? So I said, you know what? I'm gonna learn more and I'm gonna teach. So this is what I do now. What I do now is I have this association, the first Houston Hispanic Real Estate Investors Association, where we educate, we connect, we mentor people, and we provide investors with investment opportunities. The meetings, we have meetings every month. We have seminars, we have classes, we have online classes also. So we provide all this for the investors. We also buy and hold, fix and flip. We wholesale a lot. My favorite strategy is wholesaling. But yeah, this is basically what a little bit of my story. I try to make the story short.
No, that's great. So, okay, let me back up a little bit. So, where are you from originally?
From Mexico City.
From Mexico City. Okay, so you came from a big city, obviously.
Yeah.
And then you came to Houston. And what was some of the challenges, just that alone, right? Because obviously the language barrier, it's a different way to live. Hard for you to, communicate and get things done. When you're trying to learn a new thing like real estate, it's hard enough when English is your first language. Now you had to come in and make this this is your second language, and you're trying to learn this new skill of how to talk and negotiate. What were some of the challenges you had just learning that and trying to figure your first deal to negotiate that? Like just deal number one, that's what I want to hear.
I didn't even take the calls because my first offer, I sent I think 200 offers on MLS. And what I used to do, I remember very clear. I was in panic when someone called me and I didn't understand. So I used to send only my email. I say, can you send me an email? Don't call me, please. And sometimes they call me. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is a realtor. And sometimes I took the call and I was like, hello. And they started talking. I didn't get it. I didn't know what it was saying. And then I was in my job. It was a retail store. But they say, it's like, they say groceries and food and everything. So I was with the person talking to me about, hey, Erika, I want some tacos, and I want this, and I want that. And I was so, okay, hold on a second. How many tacos? And I was like this. It was so hard. And then I was, okay, can I call you back? I'm a little bit busy. And I remember I used to call this guy, Jose Luis, my business partner, and I said, can you call back this person? Because she wants to tell me something, but I don't know what she wants. And then he used to help me like that. I couldn't communicate.
Right.
And then through this guy, he's like, oh, she said you sent an offer and this and this and that. And we're like, oh, okay, just tell her that. Or I used to text because I know how to write and read in English because I learned in Mexico at the school, but I didn't know how to speak it very well.
Right.
I didn't understand because I was just on the computer all the time in Mexico. I used to do logistics. Mm-hmm. And they said, you need to do a contract. And I went, don't worry, I do it. Just tell me how I do it. So I used to do trade contracts all the time. Trade contract, the 9 pages. I know how to do them very well. So I said, I want to do it. Just tell me how, and I do it. So I started doing it. I sent my offer. And it was like 11 at night when I sent this offer to this lady and said, this property is for $55,000. I'm going to offer you $33,000. I can close, in as many days as you want. And the agent calls at 12:20. It was midnight. And I didn't respond. And then she sent me a text. I was like, oh my God, what she wants.
Yeah.
And she sent me a text and said, hey, Erika, this is blah, blah. If you are ready to close in 3 days, I can sell you the house for 33 because I had a buyer and he backed out. So the house is ready for you for 33. And I was like, oh, I don't have the money. I don't have anything. I was like, and I called this guy. I remember that. I know it was almost 1 a.m. And he didn't answer. And in the morning, like at 6 a.m, and he texts me back and say, what's going on? And I say, this and this and that and that and that. And he's like, okay, let's go see the property. And then he saw it and said, oh, I think it's a good deal. At the end, he bought it and sold it for $47,000.
Okay.
thousand.
Yeah.
So it was my very first deal.
Nice.
Yeah, and then I said, well, I didn't get obviously that money. I get some money because it was just a fee because I was finding the property. But then I like it. I said,
The rush.
oh, I can make, yeah, and the motion. And I said, I could do it. I could do it. And then eventually said, no, I had to learn more English. I had to involve more with people. I had to learn more. And then eventually my first 8 deals, I got them from MLS. So it was easier because I could send emails and text messages, and it was easier. And it was only with the realtor. I didn't talk with the homeowners.
Which is good and bad.
Yes. That's why I know that you can find opportunities in MLS, but you have to create them. They are not there.
Yeah.
You have to identify the potential.
I used to make a lot of money getting expired listings and stuff on the MLS, so it works. You just have to have a system around it. So let me ask you this: now that you know as much as you know, right? You've been doing this a while. Now you're educated. You're an expert. You know all these people. You're training people. Do you think there's things that you did and you're like, man, if I knew that, I probably wouldn't have done it? Like sometimes, when you know too much, it hurts you. Like how am I going to get the money? If you would have actually thought that through, you would have thought logically, I shouldn't make this offer because I don't have the money. But it's funny, I noticed people that are successful, especially in the beginning, they're successful because they don't think. They just do it. And they figure, you know what, I'll figure it out down the road. I'm just going to make this happen. Did you find that with you too? Because you had that and you had the language. So you had 2 things you had to figure out.
Yeah, it was hard. And nobody believes in you when you are in that situation.
Yeah.
I remember to talk to people saying, you know what, I was asking for $2,000. They say, if I have 5 people who can put $2,000, we have 10,000 and we can do something. Obviously, nobody believed in me. and I was like, okay, what I would do differently, it would be not trusting much. There are people I used to trust and it wasn't a good idea. The second thing, it was, I left too much money on the table. I know that.
Right.
And
sometimes that's a learning. That's how you learn, though. Yeah.
And I think when I think about it, I don't think I lose money. I think it's the price I had to pay to know what I know now.
Absolutely. It's like paying for a college education on the streets.
Correct.
And that's what I tell people. You're going to pay one way or the other. You're either going to pay in money, you're going to pay in education, you're going to pay in time. You're going to have to make a commitment to learning what you're doing to learn your craft. And obviously your commitment was, that you left some money on the table and you had to learn a lot. And I'm sure there's a lot of deals you didn't get because of your learning curve, just like me, just like all of us. When you're learning a new system and a new language and a new everything, there's boundaries. So let's talk about what you're doing now. And I was fortunate enough to speak at your event, great event. A lot of people there. I had my translator there speaking for me. That was kind of cool. But let's talk about what you're doing now and how you're helping, because you've got 3 businesses, right? Not just one. So let's talk about that. I want to hear what you're doing and kind of how you're helping the community, because I think it's great what you're doing. And I don't know of anyone else that's doing it the extent that you're doing it at.
No, actually what I did, I started with my company that is DX Life Investments, that it was the first one, the one I used to buy and hold or buy and sell. And then I create this company called This Latina Buys Houses. So that is more directed to women who want to invest. And I use it to acquire properties. It's like a marketing, like a brand for This Latina Buys Houses. The name helped me a lot because people catch that.
Yeah.
This Latina, it's like kind of different.
That's your niche market. I mean, what's so great about that, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but what's so great about your name is you can clearly identify who your target market is by your name and who is going to appeal to you. And it's like your marketing strategy by just your name is very smart, because it's very clear who's going to be attracted to you to do business with.
Exactly, because that is a niche that many people doesn't know how to approach.
Yep.
Because we are Hispanic people has different ways to negotiate, different ways to
Cultures.
yeah. So that is something that I took advantage of, because I say, I know this part of the business. No, I can take this niche as mine and work it out. And that's what I'm doing. Actually, one of my offices is right here in the north side, in an area that is mostly Hispanic.
Yeah.
And I have another in the Galleria, but well, it's like being in the place where your niche is.
Sure.
So I did this Latina with another ladies because many people in my classes are women. So the way we could work together was with this brand. Yeah, that's funny.
Curious, are they single moms, married moms, career? Like what's the demographic of the people that you're getting?
I got everything, but I'm gonna tell you something. The ones who approach to me the most are singles, single mothers, and some married women, but the ones that they have like a strong personality, you know? Because some of them say, Erika, I wanna be like you. I wanna be like alone as you are. You are single and you are by yourself and you're making it. I want to do something like that. So I think they look up to me in some way. They feel inspired for what I'm doing, because if I could do it, they can do it.
Sure.
So that's why I create these Latina Vice houses, to get connected with women so they can, obviously to buy houses, but also women that say, you know what are you doing? How did you get to buy houses when you used to work in that mid-market in Cleveland?
Yeah.
So that created a connection with them. And then I created Bravo Investors with my partner, Jose Luis Salazar. This is more inclusive. It doesn't sound that feminine.
Yeah.
And with Bravo Investors, what we do is we provide coaching, free classes, and all this kind of education. Mm-hmm. And it's a company that blasts out all of the properties. Okay. And the one we do the marketing with all the properties we have. Mm-hmm. And well, the Houston Hispanic REIA, as I said, was created to create this network of Hispanic investors, or all levels. But it's awesome because people from other cities have been contacting me about it, because they say there is nobody like this in Chicago, in California, in Phoenix, and in Austin, and San Antonio. People have called me and say, Erika, how do you do that? How can I do that as you do that? So I've been in touch with our people. And what I do also is trying to coach the coaches, like the ones who are gonna form something like this.
Sure.
So the idea of this is growing up to a national level, because I mean there are these, and I'm talking Hispanic not as a culture, but as a demographic.
Yeah.
You know, it's a big demographic in this
country. A lot of money too, right? There's a lot of revenue there too.
Yeah. And so I can connect the Hispanic community with investors who they want to sell them or buy from them. So I'm like that bridge between them both, and I can understand both languages. I say 3 languages: English, Spanish, and real estate.
Very, very true. Let me ask you, do you work with people from out of the country that want to buy? Like, so people in Mexico that want to buy in the US, do you have a connection for that as well?
Yeah, I actually work with this guy from California, and people from Mexico, they create companies over here in USA, or there is a company in Mexico City where they can invest their money and they're going to get a return. Let's say, I don't know, 5-6%. For them, that's really good. And then that money can be invested over here in different, they don't care much about, they actually never see the house. They just invest the money to get the return, and that's it. Yeah, because I'm from Mexico City, so there are many people there who see me through Facebook, because my marketing includes social media. And as I have a radio show since 2 years ago, and I put it live on Facebook, many people from Mexico obviously see it. And they call me, Erika, how can I invest in USA? At the beginning, I didn't actually know what to do with them. Many people approach me saying, Erika, I have this much money. Tell me how I invested. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm just a wholesaler. I don't know what to do with all that money, you know? Yeah. And that's the reason that I create the REIA. Why? Because I can connect all these people with all that knowledge. Then I come to them and I can come and say, you know what? I have this opportunity, this much money available, what we can do. and these other people tell me what to do, or we can work together in some deals. That is the idea, also to create a group with all the resources we need to grow together.
Sure. Yeah.
You know?
No, that's great. That's great. Let me ask you this now. You've told me all the good things. I want to hear about a failure. I want to hear about something that you've done, that you tried and it just didn't work. You know, whether it was a deal that went sideways, whether it was a house that flooded, an owner that ripped you off. A lot of our listeners, they kind of want to hear the stories of the reality, right? Because look, we all know that you and I have gone through this, and we've had many, many days where it just sucks, right? Sometimes it's just a bad day, right? The banks don't fund, the owner backs out. Do you have any stories that you could share that people could take away as lessons that happened to you that said, okay, well, she handled it this way. Maybe that's a good way to look at it.
I think the hardest one has been after Harvey.
Okay.
After Harvey, when all these houses flooded, and we had these 4 houses with my partner, and all of them flooded. And then we had like 3 deals almost ready to happen. And when Harvey came, all of them didn't work. And then the houses were flooded. And then my business partner said, you know what, Erika, I think I'm going to stay by myself. I'm going to be working on this. So he was actually just quitting. And
wow.
And the other person who was in my team also, she was helping me a lot with the calls and everything because they were in English. She used to answer the calls from the group and everything. And negotiating with the sellers, because she's really good at answering calls and negotiating. She's really good. She used to do all that part of the business. And then she said, you know what, Erika, I think I'm gonna go back to what I was doing. I decided that I just want to buy a couple houses to rent out, and you know what, I'm basically quitting also.
Wow.
And I was like, what? No deals, no business partners. At that moment, I had no money. My office got flooded also. And I was like, what am I going to do now? And I remember I actually did a Facebook Live that night. I have it on Facebook. I see it every time I feel down. I did a Facebook Live saying, you know what? We're going to be good. We're gonna do better even than we did before Harvey. But people need to understand that this and that. I was about crying. I actually was crying after the video. And it was hard. I had actually almost to start over at that moment. Imagine, no money, no deals, no partners, nothing. And the worst thing, it was many people was like that. It wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna look for help. No, I was like, you know what, Erika, you have, and I had the group also already. So I was like, I feel like it is not gonna work. How I'm gonna motivate these people if it is not even working for me?
Yeah, right. And you know, I think the worst part about that story, which, you know, we went through Hurricane Harvey, is none of it was any of our fault. Like, we didn't do anything. It had nothing to do with your business, had nothing to do with your accounting, had nothing to do with your negotiations. It was all something that happened because of an outside source. And now you are having to pick up the pieces. You know, the week before Harvey, things were great, right? Things were rocking and rolling. Everyone was great. All of a sudden the storm rolls through, and now your life is turned upside down, and it had nothing to do with your business ability.
Exactly. And in my case, it was, when it doesn't work for you is one thing, but when it doesn't work for you, and you had to make other people believe that it's gonna work, when it's just responsibility to influence other people, and sitting there on my radio show and telling people it's gonna be good, you know, and I was broke, you know, and I was like, it financially and emotionally, and I used to cry before the show because I was like, how can I tell them this if I don't even feel like that?
Sure.
But it was hard, and eventually it worked. And if we are talking about one one deal that maybe didn't work out, well, actually, I want to tell you this. That is funny because let's say 95% of the deals we had, we closed in them. So one of them took us 4 months 4 months. You know why? Because this lady had a release of lien for $80,000. And then the boyfriend took it because he didn't want her to sell. And we had everything ready. And when she has a release of lien for $8,000, 80,000, she didn't find it. And then we were like, where is it? I don't know, my boyfriend, I think he took it. And then we looked for the boyfriend, and then he get into jail. Oh. So we couldn't contact him because he was in jail. Then she could contact him and say, no, I don't have it. And then he said, no, I destroy it. So we needed a release of lien for $80,000. Then they say, well, let's look up for the guy who signed it so he can do a new one. It was like 15 years ago that this guy had signed the release of lien. And we look up for the guy, and then we find the address and everything, and we got there. The guy passed away 5 years ago. Oh. And then we said, well, the wife. And then we talked to the wife, and the wife said, no, I'm not gonna sign anything. I don't wanna know anything because I didn't know about his business. So don't call me, don't contact me. I know nothing.
Wow.
And we were ready. We had under contract for 33, and we were selling it for 62.
Ouch.
ARV was 155. So it took us 4 months. Well, finally, we could get, after many people and paying some people to help us to get to the wife and do a new one. And then we recorded and everything, and we're ready to close. Oh yes, after 4 months. And then we got to get this lady, and she was totally lost. She used to do drugs. So she was all in drugs. And we're like, come on, Jamaica, wake up. And she was like, no, I'm good. No, she was lost. So she couldn't close that day. And then the next day, the 2 next days, we went to pick her up. We brought her to the closing table. And then she's there, and she's like, oh, I don't have an ID. Why? I don't know. I don't have my papers. I don't have my birth certificate. I don't know. When I was in jail, I lost everything. So every time she used to ask us for $20. And we were like, okay, 20. Every time it was $20. And at the end, yeah, she we finally helped her. I remember this guy who was helping us. He actually took her to get a birth certificate, to get that social security card, to get all the documents, to get an ID. And
it's so funny. That brings back so many memories of deals. I remember when I was doing a flip or wholesale one time, I had to actually go to a marriage counseling between two people to get the marriage counselor to basically tell them that they need to sign the documents. And I'll never forget, I'm thinking to myself, I'm in a marriage counseling session with the two sellers, and they're having this discussion about, they're bringing up all this stuff that's not even related, but I'm in the middle of this, like, it's like the husband, me, and the wife, and I'm sitting in this thing, and I'm thinking to myself, I just need someone to sign this document. That's all I need. But like, it was like an hour and a half session that I'm in this thing, and I need to write a book on this. Like, this is something that I need to write a book on these stories, because people would not imagine the stuff that we go through to get deals across the goal line,
Yeah. And to me, happened something similar. I had to talk with the wife and the girlfriend. Because this guy, he gave this property to the girlfriend. Oh. Okay? And then we were trying to close on the property. They say, oh no, this guy is married. The wife needs to sign. So we called the wife and say, you know what, you need to sign this and this and that. Why? Because this property is being sold. And what? But that's my property. I say, no, the owner is this lady called this and that. And she's like, no, that is my husband's property. This is no, I'm not gonna sign. And the girlfriend said, no, he gave me the property. He signed me a deed and everything. And yeah, she got the deed. But they just signed the deed. They didn't do it the right way. Right. And she's like, no, it's my property. It's under my name. And the lady, no, it's my property. And the guy in the middle, he was like, I don't know. And I had to step outside of the house of the wife and the husband. I said, you know what? You need to sign. No, I'm not going to sign it. You need to, because I'm just part of the company. This lady already received her money. She's enjoying the money on the beach, and you are here fighting. And actually, this property has 3 liens. If you don't sign, those liens are going to go to your property, because now I have your address and everything, and we all know now. So you're going to be carrying those liens with you. It's better for you to sign and just let her pay for those liens.
Okay.
And she's like, I said, come on. And she's like, oh, my husband said she robbed him the deed. She robbed it. I mean, she was the one who stole the house from him. And I'm like, yeah, right. I'm like, yeah, I believe you. I know she's a bad woman. But
Therapy. Yeah, the therapist, right?
yeah, and she signed. And she signed that day. I took a notary with me. The notary was right there with me. It was 8 p.m. I was outside. She was at the door, and I was over here at the gate. I said, oh, please sign, because this and that. And then she came, she signed, and we could close next day. Wow. But it took me like 3 months also.
Yeah, these are the stories. So let me ask you this. What would you give advice? It's a new year, right? You get a lot of people that want to get involved in real estate. You're obviously very successful, and congratulations, everything. What advice would you give someone, whether they're from this country or another country or whatever, in Houston, doesn't matter. What would you tell people that is the key to your success, and maybe you would offer to them for words of wisdom?
I think first thing is to learn how the system works in this country. It doesn't work as it works in our countries. It works very different. Mm-hmm. You have to learn, okay, the rules of the game first. You have to learn how the contracts work, how the laws of this. How you're gonna learn that with the correct people, talking to the right people.
Right.
This is the first thing. And the second thing is you have always to bring something to the table. Don't come here asking. Help me, teach me, give me. No, you need to bring something of value, because you need something. So you need to add value to that relationship, create relationships. Don't ask for help. Don't demand for help. Okay. You need to be able to create relationships. You need to learn how to network with people who is where you want to be, who knows what you want to know, but you have to add value to them also. Sure. That is very important, because there are many people who want to learn, and that's good, but they just sit there and say, I want you to teach me what I do and how to do it. And then if you teach them and they don't do it.
Right.
So you have to learn that time is valuable. And when you take time from a person, that person is giving you something very valuable. That is their time, their trust, their knowledge. So that is one of the most important, but because many people, I'm gonna tell you this, they have money, they have a good background, they have all the drive to do it, but they don't make it because they don't build those relationships the right way. Yeah. That's what happens sometimes.
I agree. I mean, relationships are everything. Look at how we met, and I went and spoke at your event. You're on my show, and maybe one day you'll have me on your show. But yeah, I mean, those are the things. I mean, that's how relationships are built, right? I mean, that's how you start building these foundations. And it's. I tell people, I don't care what business you're in, especially in the real estate business. Believe it or not, I think you're in the people business. If you don't understand relationships, if you don't understand how to talk to people and work with people, you're not going to be successful. Just because you have a 4 walls and a roof, it doesn't mean you're going to be successful. Buying, selling, flipping doesn't matter. You got to be able to talk to people. You got to be able to communicate with people. So Erika, I really appreciate you taking the time today to talk to me. If somebody wants to know more about you and your information and the Houston Hispanic REA, how would they get a hold of you and look you up?
Yeah, I have my website with my name, erikabasurto.com. And I have, I'm very active.
You may want to spell that, just I'm saying. Can you spell your last name for people so they can do it?
Absolutely. My name is Erika, just with a K. Okay, and Basurto, just spell it like B, as in baby. Asurto. com.
There you go.
And you can look up also for brow investors. I mean, I don't want to say all others because they're gonna get lost, but Erika Basurto hosts all the other websites.
Right.
And also I have a meeting every third Tuesday of the month in the Chamber of Latino Entrepreneurs of Houston. And I have classes, seminars, and I have a radio show every other Wednesday in the 9:20 a.m. and from 2 to 3 p.m. And that is the way. I'm very active on social media.
Yeah, they can find you on Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah, and I have a YouTube channel also with all my radio shows.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Well, Erika, thank you so much for being on the show today. I really appreciate it. And again, if somebody wants to get a hold of Erika, please reach out to her. She's a wealth of information. She has so much knowledge. And if you want, you can find this video on iTunes. Also, you can go to our website, selfmanagemyproperty.com, where we have the Ultimate Survival Handbook, as well as other documents and books that we sell and just free information to help investors. Again, we're all in this together. We're all trying to make this work. And, no one's doing it. No one's doing it by themselves, believe it or not. Everybody has a team behind them. And Erika will tell you, like I will, you only have 24 hours in the day, and you have to choose those hours wisely. And you have to make sure that you are being very selective with who you talk to, who you associate, what you think, because all of that happens. So I would just say that, make sure that when you're thinking of real estate and you're thinking of investing, you're realizing that it is a team sport, and you're thinking of who you want on your team and how you're going to spend your time with whom. And again, Erika is a great person to spend your time with. She owes me a taco lunch, or I owe her a taco lunch. I'm not sure. We're going to lunch. But anyways, Erika, again, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing you again.
No, thank you for the invite. Thank you for letting me share this information and for the nice conversation. And I wait for you over here in the north side for a taco run.
That's right, taco run. All right, everyone. Until next time, we'll see you guys. Thanks for watching the Landlord Survival Show. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
All right, so that is...
This has been the Landlord Survival Show. Join us next time for more of what the gurus don't tell you about owning rentals. And for even more, find us on Facebook.
Brought to you by Empire Industries Property Management. Built for investors, by investors. For more information about this show, visit our website, selfmanagemyproperty.com, home of the Ultimate Landlord Survival Handbook.